Hello everybody, it is your boy GZTV back with another video, and in this video we are going to be talking about the latest episode of Dexter I watched. We are on episode 5 of season 7, Swim Deep. We're going to kind of summarize the show. You guys kind of know how we format this. I know my dog is barking upstairs, but never mind her. We have to talk about Dexter here. I just put up an Anthony Davis on the auction house. Hopefully he sells eventually. I'm going to put my PlayStation I'm just gonna close the game out real quick so I can check after I'm done with the video. Hopefully he sells, because if he does, I could probably buy Porzingis, which I'm going to use on my team, but that's besides the point. So as Dexter is cleaning his boat, he spots some recent blood and he realizes that some person was killed on his boat, and that's not good because obviously he's a serial killer, and that would make him look pretty bad if there was a dead body that... Well, if there is proof that someone was killed on his boat anyway. So, back in Miami Metro, Vince Masuka discovers from a colleague that Maria LaGuerta is processing evidence at another lab, and he's kind of getting suspicious because this whole thing happened with the ice truck killer in that hand, and is he going to be fired because he's not doing a good enough job? Is he going to get fired because of all this crazy stuff that's happening? We don't know. Obviously the audience knows that she's just looking into these blood slides, and if anything, Dexter's the one that's going to be in trouble. But, yeah. Deb questions LaGuerta, who says she needed a second set of eyes on something, therefore she used a private lab. She, asks her about this, what the hell are you doing? You've got my colleagues, worrying about shit. And she's like, oh, well, I just need another set of eyes. And she's, using this as an excuse to take this blood slide, because obviously she knew Dokes very well, and she wants to kind of clear his name for some closure. Meanwhile, Dexter is shocked and confused to discover that the analyzed blood he found on his boat belongs to Lewis Green, and he realizes that Lewis Green died, and at the hands of who, he's not really sure yet, but soon enough he's going to kind of figure this out. Deb shows Dexter a list of people who have gone missing since Dokes died and who fit the victim profile of the Bay Harbor Butcher, because Maria LaGuerta reveals that she's going back in that case and reopening it, and there's more things coming up, with the blood slide, and the Bay Harbor Butcher is still alive. Dexter thought he had climbed that hill, but he didn't. So yeah, there's a lot of people that they're gonna investigate, and people that Dexter pretty much killed. A lot of these people Dexter killed, probably 3, 4, 5 of them. And they're going to try to clear his name off of them. And that's kind of their goal. And, with the Philip Barnes, he died at a wedding. And there were pictures taken at the wedding. This guy's a photographer. So if he got Dexter in a picture, he could be caught at that scene. And, since the Bay Harbor Butcher was seen as someone a part of the law enforcement, then he's not going to be in. It's not going to go well. Dexter returns home, but before he can open his door, he notices his curtains are open. He gets home from work and he realizes... someone is in his apartment, someone's breaking in, someone's fucking with him, and he realizes also that this kind of ties in with Lewis dying on his boat. This could be whoever killed Lewis, and it's a guy in the Koshkas, Isaac Serva. Isaac arrives at Schooner later and takes a seat on the patio. He baits him over there to meet up with him. And he's spying on him, seeing what this guy's motives are. He uses the answering machine in his house. Obviously Dexter's not dumb enough to walk into the house while this guy is sitting there with a gun in his holster, obviously being the name he has, the waiter brings him a phone and says he has a call because he's that big of a deal. Dexter's Deborah meet him in the station's parking garage, and she kind of lets him know that he lets her know hey, we could be in fucking danger. The Koshka Brotherhood figured shit out about me, how I killed Victor, and she's finding out all this stuff about that case where they were trying to say, oh, Alex could have been the murderer, but this whole time Dexter had damn, I have a double chin. Sorry. Double chin check. I gotta get rid of that shit. Oh my god, look at that, dude. That's insane. But, yeah. What was I gonna say? She figures out that he killed Victor and that they can kind of close that case. And all that stuff. And they're in danger, so they have to hide out. Dexter stakes out the foxhole and realizes Isaac isn't just a hitman but a boss. Like, he originally thought this guy was just one of those hitmen that someone sent out, but no, he's like the man. He's like the top dog. As Batista interviews Hannah, Angel calls him because Hannah McKay wants to like reveal shit about the murder, get it off her chest so she doesn't have to deal with it anymore. So as Batista interviews Hannah, Dexter, takes notes and kind of keeps this in mind because he's a pretty smart guy. He can figure out these crimes and all that. Batista leaves the room to make preparations for the next day's gig, or not gig, dig. Like what they did to Wayne Randall to kind of look for the bodies. Set up some patrols, get some people there so they can find the body, That night, Dexter sits in a room at the Sundance Motel as he researches Isaac, the Koshka Brotherhood, and a Colombian gang on a laptop. He's kind of trying to get the inside scoop on like what's going on with this beef, and so he can avoid some things and maybe even hit the Koshka Brotherhood where it hurts. So yeah, he's going to be planning something. He's scheming against Mr. Isaac Serco. So Hannah leads the police to a beach to help them find 2 buried bodies. Like, she gives them this location because she says there's going to be bodies there, and the next day that's kind of where they begin the dig. And yeah. Dexter eventually realizes that Hannah killed somebody, so there's that too. Deb goes alone to Philip Barnes' house to interview his son, and is surprised when LaGuerta shows up. And this kind of fucking sucks, because again, this is one of those guys that Dexter killed, and this is the wedding photographer we were talking about. So if Maria LaGuerta sees Dexter in a picture, she's going to automatically frame him for the murder. Or not frame him, but like accuse him of it. Of being the Bay Harbor Butcher anyway. So at the dig site, the couple is unearthed. Like, that whole like questioning goes on. Deb sees the picture. Dexter takes it quickly, says she's going to look it over at her house, pretty much saves him. So they dig up this couple at the beach, and this is obviously where they find out that, this is obviously where Dexter finds out that, Hannah's a murderer. So as Dexter is loading his equipment into his car, Hannah walks up and asks why he was looking at her. She can't, get her on a charge, so it's fine if he knows that she's a murderer, So Dexter notices Isaac Serco watching him from a distance and hatches a plan to have him killed. Like, Dexter's not that fucking stupid. He can see when this man is, sitting there watching him, the Colombian cartel and the Koshka Brotherhood, they're enemies, so he's going to try to, lure him into a Colombian building or whatever, a Colombian hangout spot, and they're gonna team up and kill him. So that's the thing. Batista tries to speak to Deb again about Alex Dobrozny's suicide, but he is called to the homicide scene at Mateo's bar, and Deb should fucking tell him that it's off. Stop fucking looking into this, because this is a waste of our time. We need to go after the Koshka Brotherhood, not this guy that's already dead. So at Mateo's bar, the homicide team, especially Dexter, is shocked to find 3 murdered Colombians and a very bloody crime scene. Obviously, a shootout occurred with the Koshka Brotherhood member in the Colombian cartel, and they can kind of instantly tell this. And Dexter's like, this is not how I thought this was going to go. I thought at least one of the Colombian cartel members was going to shoot Isaac Serco down, but Serco survived. So, but then again, they can make an arrest then. Dexter finds his blood, proves he's a killer. They're going to be able to arrest him. So after George Novikov tells Isaac that Quinn was paid off in the past to leave their drug trade alone, Jurg leaves a bag of money in Quinn's car because they realize that Joseph Quinn, whatever, is getting super close to one of their dancers, and if he gets too close, she could rat out and tell him some shit. So they're going to give him money to keep quiet. So Isaac is arrested for the murders at Mateo's bar and brought to the station in handcuffs, which is crazy. This is one of the first times in this whole show, as ridiculous as that sounds, that they've actually arrested someone for murdering. Dexter, it's either Dexter ends up murdering them or they, out of defense, the Metro Police kills them. So it's kind of crazy that they're finally arresting someone. Batista tries to convince Deb that Alex Dobrozny didn't shoot Mike Anderson, but she orders him to back down and let it go. And he can't believe this. What the hell? We kind of had some proof on this. Dexter visits Isaac in jail, and they have a not-so-friendly conversation over the phone. They kind of greet each other to start, but it soon turns hostile. Dexter tells him he didn't come to taunt him. He just thought maybe you could help him and, tell him some more about this feud, and they're talking. And since Dexter killed Victor, and Victor was an employee that Isaac liked, he had to go after him, like telling him why. Dexter said, like or not, he killed Mike Anderson, he killed one of my colleagues, I had to go after him, he started it. Isaac, and Dexter kind of confirms that he killed him out of revenge after Isaac asked him that. Isaac says there was the briefest flicker of hesitation there. And are you sure you wanted to do it for revenge and whatnot? Dexter said, you got arrested, all this stuff kind of rubbing it in his face, there'll be a trial, you'll go to prison. Yeah, and Isaac says, this is over, you think? And Dexter says yes, and Dexter kind of tells this whole story about his great uncle and blah blah blah. I don't want to really go into that, but yeah. Dexter says there's one little problem. Isaac says, what is that? Dexter's like, I'm not some little fat man, which he talked about in his little story. And if Dexter says, if you ever find out who he is, you'll regret it. Isaac's like, I have no idea who you are. I just kind of met you and all this stuff. So Deb visits Dexter and gives him the incriminating photo, like, what the fuck, I saved your life. And at the end, they end up burning the photo, and Dexter pretty much clears his name from that guy anyway. We're not sure about anyone else. So that'll be an interesting storyline to kind of watch throughout the season. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. GZTV, I know I kind of summarized that conversation, but you guys can go through, watch that episode. The season's been really good so far. We're nearing the halfway point. I have The Walking Dead, and I'm going to start watching Black Mirror, too.